You know, there's something that happens when you begin to see life differently than the people around you. There's a shift that occurs inside of you, and suddenly the world that everyone else accepts as reality starts to look like an illusion. You start to question things. You start to wonder why people live the way they do, why they accept limitations, why they settle for less than what their hearts truly desire. And when this happens, when you begin to see what others don't, you enter into what I call dangerous territory. But it's a beautiful kind of danger. It's the danger of awakening. Most people go through their entire lives asleep. They wake up in the morning, but they're not really awake. They go through the motions. They follow the script that was handed to them by their parents, by society, by their culture, by their religion. They never stop to ask themselves, is this really what I want? Is this really who I am? They just keep moving forward on autopilot, doing what they've always done, thinking what they've always thought, believing what they've always believed. And there's nothing wrong with these people. They're good people. They're kind people. But they're asleep. Then there are those rare individuals who wake up. Something happens to them. Maybe it's a crisis. Maybe it's a moment of clarity. Maybe it's a book they read or a conversation they had. But something shifts inside of them, and they begin to see the world through different eyes. They begin to understand that the limitations they accepted their whole lives aren't real. They begin to realize that the voice in their head telling them they're not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough, that voice isn't even their own voice. It's the voice of conditioning. It's the voice of fear. It's the voice of everything they've been taught to believe about themselves. And this is where the danger begins. Because once you see what others don't see, once you understand what others don't understand, you can't go back. You can't unsee it. You can't pretend anymore. You can't play small anymore. You can't live a life that's less than what you know you're capable of. And this puts you at odds with the world around you. This makes you different. This makes you stand out. And standing out, being different, going against the grain, that's dangerous in a world that values conformity above almost everything else. People will tell you you're crazy. They'll tell you you're being unrealistic. They'll tell you to come back down to earth, to be practical, to think about security, to worry about what other people think. They'll tell you that your dreams are too big, that your vision is too grand, that you should settle for what's reasonable. And these people, they're not trying to hurt you. They're not being malicious. They're just trying to keep you safe. They're trying to protect you from disappointment. They're trying to save you from failure. But what they don't realize is that the biggest failure in life isn't trying and falling short. The biggest failure is never trying at all. The biggest failure is living your entire life playing it safe, staying in your comfort zone, never taking risks, never following your heart, never listening to that quiet voice inside of you that knows you're meant for more. When you begin to see what others don't, you start to understand that the universe is not a hostile place. You start to understand that you're not separate from the creative force that brings everything into existence. You start to understand that you have within you the same power that grows a tree from a seed, the same intelligence that keeps planets orbiting around the sun, the same creativity that brings a baby into the world from 2 microscopic cells. This power is in you. This intelligence is in you. This creativity is in you. And once you understand this, once you really get this at the core of your being, everything changes. But here's the thing. Most people don't want to hear this. Most people have been conditioned to believe that they're limited, that they're victims of circumstance, that life happens to them rather than through them. They've been taught to look outside of themselves for validation, for approval, for happiness, for success. They've been taught to believe that their worth is determined by their job title, their bank account, their possessions, their achievements. They've been taught to believe that they need to compete with others, that they need to prove themselves, that they need to earn their place in the world. And then you come along with a different message. You come along saying that your worth is inherent, that you don't need to prove anything to anyone, that you're already whole and complete exactly as you are. You come along saying that you can create your own reality, that your thoughts become things, that your beliefs shape your experience. You come along saying that the obstacles in your life aren't there to stop you but to strengthen you, that the challenges you face aren't punishments but opportunities for growth. And people look at you like you've lost your mind. This is the danger of seeing what others don't. You become a threat to the status quo. You become a reminder to people of everything they've given up on, everything they've compromised, everything they've settled for. Your very existence challenges their worldview. Your happiness, your peace, your fulfillment, It makes them uncomfortable because it forces them to confront the fact that they could have these things too if they were willing to change their thinking, if they were willing to take responsibility for their lives, if they were willing to step out of their comfort zones. But you can't let this stop you. You can't dim your light to make others feel more comfortable. You can't pretend to be less than you are to fit in. You can't go back to sleep once you've awakened. And yes, it's lonely sometimes. Yes, it's difficult sometimes. Yes, there will be moments when you question yourself, when you wonder if maybe everyone else is right and you're the one who's wrong. But in those moments, you have to go back to what you know. You have to return to that inner knowing, that inner wisdom, that inner voice that speaks to you in the quiet moments. That voice, that's your higher self. That's your connection to source. That's the part of you that knows the truth. And the truth is this: you are not here by accident. You are not a cosmic mistake. You are not a random collection of atoms that somehow came together by chance. You are here on purpose, for a purpose. You have something unique to contribute to this world. You have gifts that no one else has. You have a perspective that no one else can offer. You have a light that only you can shine. But to share these gifts, to offer this perspective, to shine this light, you have to be willing to be different. You have to be willing to stand alone sometimes. You have to be willing to be misunderstood. You have to be willing to be criticized. You have to be willing to be rejected. Because the alternative is to conform, to fit in, to play small, to live a life that's less than what you know you're capable of. And that, my friend, that's the real danger. Not the danger of seeing what others don't, but the danger of seeing it and then pretending you don't. The danger of knowing the truth and then denying it. The danger of hearing your calling and then ignoring it. You see, when you see what others don't, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to yourself, first and foremost. You have a responsibility to honor your truth, to follow your heart, to live in alignment with your highest self. But you also have a responsibility to the world. Because when you live from this place of authenticity, when you live from this place of truth, when you live from this place of love, you give others permission to do the same. You become a light in the darkness. You become proof that it's possible to live differently. You become a demonstration of what happens when someone chooses to wake up rather than stay asleep. Think about the people who have changed the world. Think about the great teachers, the great leaders, the great artists, the great innovators. What did they all have in common? They saw what others didn't see. They understood what others didn't understand. They believed what others couldn't believe. And they were willing to stand in their truth even when the whole world was against them. They were willing to endure ridicule, rejection, persecution, even death, rather than deny what they knew to be true. Now, I'm not saying you have to be a martyr. I'm not saying you have to suffer. I'm not saying you have to sacrifice your well-being for your beliefs. What I'm saying is that you have to be willing to be uncomfortable sometimes. You have to be willing to be unpopular sometimes. You have to be willing to stand apart from the crowd sometimes. Because that's what it takes to live an authentic life. That's what it takes to fulfill your purpose. That's what it takes to make a real difference in the world. And here's something beautiful that happens when you commit to this path. When you commit to seeing what others don't, when you commit to living your truth regardless of what anyone else thinks, you start to attract like-minded people into your life. You start to find your tribe. You start to meet others who see the world the way you see it, who understand the things you understand, who believe the things you believe, and suddenly you're not so alone anymore. Suddenly you have support. Suddenly you have companionship. Suddenly you have people who get you, who encourage you, who celebrate you. But even more than that, you start to experience a kind of peace that you've never experienced before. You start to experience a kind of joy that isn't dependent on external circumstances. You start to experience a kind of freedom that comes from knowing you're living in alignment with your soul's purpose. And this peace, this joy, this freedom, it's worth everything. It's worth the criticism. It's worth the rejection. It's worth the loneliness. Because nothing, and I mean nothing, is worse than living a lie. Nothing is worse than pretending to be someone you're not. Nothing is worse than dying with your music still in you. Now, let's talk about what it means to see what others don't. It means seeing possibilities where others see limitations. It means seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. It means seeing solutions where others see problems. It means seeing abundance where others see scarcity. It means seeing love where others see fear. It means seeing connection where others see separation. It means seeing purpose where others see randomness. It means seeing divinity where others see only humanity. When you see what others don't, you understand that your thoughts create your reality. You understand that the world you see outside of you is a reflection of the world you carry inside of you. You understand that if you want to change your circumstances, you have to change your consciousness. You understand that you're not a victim of your past, your upbringing, your genetics, your environment. You understand that you have the power to choose, you have the power to decide. You have the power to create. Most people don't understand this. Most people believe they're at the mercy of forces outside their control. They believe they're limited by their circumstances. They believe they're defined by their history. They believe they're trapped in patterns they can't escape. And as long as they believe this, it's true for them. As long as they believe they're powerless, they are powerless. As long as they believe they're victims, they remain victims. As long as they believe they can't change, they don't change. But when you see what others don't, when you understand the creative power of your own consciousness, everything changes. You realize that you can change your life by changing your mind. You realize that you can transform your experience by transforming your beliefs. You realize that you can create the life you want by aligning your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions with your highest vision. This is not positive thinking. This is not naive optimism. This is not pretending everything is fine when it's not. This is something much more profound. This is understanding the nature of reality. This is understanding how the universe works. This is understanding your place in the grand scheme of things. This is understanding that you are not separate from the creative force that animates all of life. You are an expression of it. You are an instrument of it. You are a channel for it. And when you align yourself with this force, when you surrender to this intelligence, when you trust this process, miracles happen, synchronicities occur, doors open, opportunities appear, people show up at exactly the right time with exactly the right information, resources materialize, solutions present themselves, things fall into place in ways you could never have planned or predicted. But here's the catch. You have to believe it before you see it. You have to trust it before you have proof. You have to act on it before you have evidence. This is where most people get stuck. They want guarantees. They want certainty. They want to know exactly how things are going to work out before they take the first step. But that's not how it works. That's not how faith works. That's not how the universe works. The universe responds to your energy. It responds to your vibration. It responds to your beliefs. If you approach life with doubt, with fear, with skepticism, that's what you'll experience. You'll experience more reasons to doubt, more reasons to fear, more reasons to be skeptical. But if you approach life with trust, with confidence, with faith, that's what you'll experience. You'll experience more reasons to trust, more reasons to be confident, more reasons to have faith. This is the law of attraction. This is the principle that like attracts like. This is the understanding that you get what you expect, you attract what you are, you become what you think about most of the time. And when you see what others don't, when you understand this principle, you take full responsibility for your life. You stop blaming, you stop complaining, you stop making excuses, you stop waiting for someone to save you or fix you or complete you. You realize that you are the one you've been waiting for. You are the change you want to see. You are the answer to your own prayers. And this is empowering, this is liberating, this is freeing, but it's also terrifying to most people because taking responsibility means giving up the luxury of being a victim. It means giving up the comfort of blaming others for your problems. It means giving up the familiar patterns of complaining and suffering and struggling. It means stepping into your power. It means owning your life. It means becoming the creator of your experience rather than the reactor to your circumstances. When you see what others don't, you understand that there are no accidents. Everything happens for a reason. Every person you meet is there to teach you something. Every situation you encounter is there to show you something about yourself. Every challenge you face is there to help you grow into the person you need to become, to live the life you're meant to live. Most people resist this. They fight against their circumstances. They argue with reality. They insist that things should be different than they are. They spend their energy wishing the past had been different or worrying that the future won't be what they want. But when you see what others don't, you accept what is. You embrace what is, you work with what is, you understand that. Resistance creates suffering, and acceptance creates peace. This doesn't mean you don't take action to improve your circumstances. This doesn't mean you passively accept injustice or mistreatment or anything that violates your values. What it means is that you start from a place of acceptance rather than resistance. You start from a place of peace rather than conflict. You start from a place of love rather than fear. And from this place, your actions are much more effective. From this place, you have access to your creativity, your intuition, your wisdom. From this place, you can respond rather than react. From this place, you can create rather than struggle. Let me tell you something about struggle. Struggle is optional. Suffering is optional. Yes, pain is part of life. Yes, challenges are part of the human experience. Yes, there will be losses and disappointments and heartbreaks. But suffering, that's something we add to pain through our thinking. Suffering happens when we resist what is, when we argue with reality, when we insist that things should be different than they are. When you see what others don't, you understand that you can experience pain without suffering. You can go through difficult times without falling apart. You can face challenges without losing your peace. You can encounter setbacks without losing your faith. Because you understand that nothing that happens to you can diminish who you are. You understand that you are not your circumstances. You understand that you are not your problems. You understand that you are the awareness, the consciousness, the presence that witnesses all of these things but is not defined by them. This is a profound shift in identity. Most people identify with their roles, their achievements, their possessions, their relationships, their bodies, their thoughts, their emotions. They think this is who they are. And when any of these things change or disappear, they experience a crisis of identity. They lose themselves. They don't know who they are anymore. But when you see what others don't, you understand that you are not any of these things. You are the one who is aware of these things. You are the consciousness in which all of these experiences appear and disappear. You are the presence that remains constant while everything else changes. And when you identify with this awareness, with this consciousness, with this presence, nothing can shake you. Nothing can diminish you. Nothing can defeat you. You become like a mountain. The weather changes. Storms come and go. Seasons change. But the mountain remains. It doesn't resist the storm. It doesn't argue with winter. It doesn't try to hold on to summer. It simply is. It remains present. It remains solid. It remains itself through all conditions. This is what's available to you when you see what others don't. This is the peace that surpasses understanding. This is the joy that doesn't depend on circumstances. This is the love that flows through you when you're not blocking it with fear and judgment and resistance. But to access this, you have to be willing to let go. You have to be willing to surrender. You have to be willing to release your grip on how you think things should be and allow them to be as they are. You have to be willing to trust that the universe knows what it's doing, that there's an intelligence at work that's far greater than your limited human understanding. Most people can't do this. Most people need to feel in control. They need to manage every detail. They need to anticipate every problem. They need to protect themselves from every possible disappointment. They live in a constant state of anxiety, always worried about what might go wrong, always trying to prevent bad things from happening, always preparing for the worst. But when you see what others don't, you understand that this approach to life is exhausting and ultimately futile. You can't control everything. You can't predict everything. You can't prevent all pain and disappointment. Life is uncertain. Life is unpredictable. Life is mysterious. And that's not something to fear. That's something to appreciate. Because it's in the uncertainty that possibility exists. It's in the unpredictability that miracles can happen. It's in the mystery that magic occurs. When you try to control everything, you close yourself off from the infinite possibilities that are available to you. You limit yourself to what you can understand with your rational mind, what you can see with your physical eyes, what you can predict based on your past experience. But there's so much more available to you than this. There's an entire universe of possibilities that you can't see, can't understand, can't predict. And when you trust this, when you open yourself to this, when you allow this, your life becomes an adventure rather than a burden. You start to see coincidences that are too perfect to be coincidences. You start to receive guidance in unexpected ways. You start to experience a sense of flow where things just work out, where doors open at exactly the right time, where you're in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people. This is what happens when you stop trying to control everything and start trusting the process. But again, this is dangerous. This goes against everything most people believe. Most people believe you have to figure everything out yourself. You have to have a detailed plan. You have to know exactly how you're going to get from where you are to where you want to be. And there's nothing wrong with planning. There's nothing wrong with setting goals. There's nothing wrong with taking action. But when you attach to specific outcomes, when you insist that things have to happen in a particular way, when you close yourself off from any path except the one you've mapped out, you limit yourself tremendously. When you see what others don't, you hold your goals and intentions lightly. You're clear about what you want, but you're not attached to how it has to happen. You're open to surprises. You're open to detours. You're open to something even better than what you imagined. You understand that the universe might have a plan that's more magnificent than anything you could conceive. This requires tremendous trust. This requires faith. This requires a willingness to be vulnerable, to not know, to be okay with uncertainty. And most people aren't comfortable with this. Most people need guarantees. Most people need security. Most people need to know that everything is going to work out exactly the way they want it to. But life doesn't offer these guarantees. Life is uncertain. The future is unknown. Anything can happen at any moment. And when you see what others don't, you're not frightened by this. You're exhilarated by it. You understand that this uncertainty is where your creative power lives. You understand that every moment is a new beginning, a fresh start, an opportunity to choose again. You understand that your past doesn't have to determine your future. You understand that who you were yesterday doesn't have to be who you are today. You understand that you can change direction at any time. You can make new choices. You can create new patterns. You can become someone entirely different. There's nothing stopping you except your own beliefs about what's possible. And this brings us back to the danger. The danger of seeing what others don't is that once you see it, you can never look away. Once you understand your creative power, you can never claim to be a victim again. Once you realize that your thoughts create your reality, you can never blame your circumstances again. Once you recognize that you're not separate from the divine intelligence that creates everything, you can never feel alone or abandoned again. You have to take responsibility. You have to own your power. You have to step into your role as the creator of your experience. And this is scary for most people. It's much easier to blame others, to make excuses, to claim that life is unfair, to insist that you're limited by factors beyond your control. It's much easier to stay small, to play it safe, to conform to what everyone expects of you. But you're not most people. If you're hearing this message, if these words resonate with you, if something inside of you is saying yes, then you're one of the ones who sees. You're one of the ones who knows. You're one of the ones who's ready to step into their power and live the life they came here to live. And yes, it's dangerous. Yes, it's challenging. Yes, there will be people who don't understand. Yes, there will be criticism. Yes, there will be obstacles. Yes, there will be moments of doubt. But there will also be moments of pure joy. There will be moments of profound peace. There will be moments of deep connection. There will be moments when you know without a shadow of a doubt that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. These moments make everything worthwhile. These moments remind you why you chose this path. These moments reconnect you with your purpose. And the more you commit to this way of living, the more of these moments you experience. The more you trust in your inner guidance, the clearer that guidance becomes. The more you align with your highest self, the more naturally your life flows. The more you let go of control and surrender to the intelligence that animates all of life, the more magic you experience. This is what's available to you. This is what's waiting for you. This is the life that's calling you. But you have to be willing to see what others don't. You have to be willing to believe what others can't believe. You have to be willing to stand in your truth even when you're standing alone. You have to be willing to be different. You have to be willing to be misunderstood. You have to be willing to disappoint people who expect you to stay the same. You have to be willing to outgrow relationships that no longer serve you. You have to be willing to leave behind the familiar and step into the unknown. You have to be willing to fail, to make mistakes, to look foolish, to fall flat on your face, because that's part of the process. That's how you grow. That's how you learn. That's how you become who you're meant to be. There's no growth in comfort. There's no transformation in safety. There's no evolution in stagnation. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable. You have to be willing to take risks. You have to be willing to try things you've never tried before. And here's what happens when you do. You start to build a different kind of confidence. Not the ego-based confidence that comes from external validation and achievement, but the soul-based confidence that comes from knowing who you really are. Not the fragile confidence that crumbles when things don't go your way, but the unshakable confidence that remains steady regardless of circumstances. This confidence doesn't come from getting everything right. It comes from being willing to be wrong. It doesn't come from never failing. It comes from getting back up every time you fall. It doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from accepting yourself exactly as you are while still striving to grow and evolve. When you see what others don't, you understand that perfection is not the goal. The goal is not to become someone different. The goal is to become more fully yourself. The goal is to strip away all the layers of conditioning, all the false beliefs, all the limiting patterns, all the masks you wear, and reveal the truth of who you really are underneath all of that. And who are you really? You are a spiritual being having a human experience. You are consciousness itself taking form. You are love expressing itself in a unique way. You are creativity embodied. You are potential unlimited. You are possibility infinite. But most people never realize this about themselves. They live their entire lives believing they're limited, believing they're separate, believing they're small and insignificant and powerless. They never wake up to the magnificent truth of their own being. They never claim their birthright. They never step into their power. Don't let this be you. Don't waste your one precious life playing small. Don't spend your years conforming to other people's expectations. Don't sacrifice your dreams on the altar of approval. Don't trade your authenticity for acceptance. Don't dim your light to make others comfortable. Be willing to shine. Be willing to stand out. Be willing to be different. Be willing to see what others don't. Because that's your gift. That's your purpose. That's your calling. The world needs you to be fully you. The world needs your unique perspective. The world needs your particular gifts. The world needs the contribution that only you can make. But you can't make that contribution if you're pretending to be someone else. You can't share your gifts if you're hiding them to fit in. You can't fulfill your purpose if you're living according to someone else's agenda. You have to be willing to be yourself, completely and unapologetically. And when you do, when you finally give yourself permission to be who you really are, something miraculous happens. You stop exhausting yourself trying to be what everyone expects. You stop contorting yourself to fit into boxes that were never meant for you. You stop pretending and performing and people-pleasing, and you start living, really living, authentically living, joyfully living. This is freedom. This is peace. This is what you've been searching for all along, not in achievement, not in acquisition, not in approval, but in authenticity, in alignment, in acceptance of who you really are. The danger of seeing what others don't is that it requires you to live from this place of authenticity. It requires you to be real. It requires you to be true to yourself no matter what. And yes, that's dangerous. But the alternative, living a lie, betraying yourself, denying your truth, that's far more dangerous. That's a slow death. That's a life of quiet desperation. That's waking up one day when you're old and realizing you never really lived at all. Don't let that happen. Choose to wake up now. Choose to see. Choose to know. Choose to be. Choose to live from your highest self. Choose to follow your inner guidance. Choose to trust the process. Choose to surrender to the flow. Choose to believe in possibilities. Choose to create consciously. Choose to love without conditions. Choose to serve without expecting anything in return. This is the path of the awakened ones. This is the way of those who see what others don't. This is the life of those who are willing to be different, to stand apart, to follow their own truth. And it's the most rewarding life you could possibly live. It's the most fulfilling life you could possibly create. It's the most meaningful life you could possibly experience. So yes, it's dangerous. But it's a beautiful danger. It's the danger of being fully alive. It's the danger of living authentically. It's the danger of fulfilling your purpose. It's the danger of becoming who you were meant to be all along. Take the risk. See what others don't. Know what others don't know. Be what others are afraid to be. Your soul will thank you. Your life will transform. And the world will be better for it, because when you shine your light, you give others permission to shine theirs. When you live your truth, you inspire others to live theirs. When you step into your power, you show others what's possible. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your opportunity. Don't waste it. Don't squander it. Don't let fear hold you back. Step forward. Trust yourself. Trust the universe. Trust the process. And watch as your life unfolds in ways more beautiful than you ever imagined. Possible. You know what's interesting about people who see what others don't? They stop needing validation from the external world. They stop checking their worth against other people's opinions. They stop measuring their success by society's standards. They develop an internal compass that guides them more reliably than any external metric ever could. This internal guidance system becomes their North Star, and once they learn to trust it, they become unstoppable. Most people spend their entire lives seeking approval. They make decisions based on what will make others happy. They choose careers that impress people rather than fulfill them. They maintain relationships that drain them because they're afraid of being alone. They buy things they don't need to impress people they don't even like. They're running on a hamster wheel of external validation, and no matter how fast they run, they never feel satisfied, because satisfaction can never come from outside of you. It can only come from within. When you see what others don't, you break free from this trap. You realize that seeking approval is a game you can never win. There will always be someone who disapproves. There will always be someone who judges you. There will always be someone who thinks you should be doing something different. And if you spend your life trying to please all these people, you'll end up pleasing no one, especially not yourself. The freedom that comes from releasing the need for approval is extraordinary. Suddenly you have all this energy that you were spending on managing other people's perceptions. Suddenly you can make decisions quickly because you're not weighing them against what everyone else might think. Suddenly you can pursue what genuinely interests you rather than what looks good on paper. This is when your real life begins. But let me tell you about another aspect of seeing what others don't. It changes your relationship with time. Most people are either living in the past or worried about the future. They're carrying around regrets about things they did or didn't do. They're replaying old conversations in their minds, wishing they had said something different. Or they're anxious about what might happen tomorrow, next week, next year. They're so caught up in yesterday or tomorrow that they completely miss today. When you awaken to a different way of seeing, you understand that this moment is all you ever have. The past is gone. It's finished. You can't change it, no matter how much you think about it. The future hasn't happened yet. It's just a concept in your mind. All you have is right now, this very moment. And when you bring your full awareness to this moment, when you're fully present, right here, right now, something shifts. Life becomes richer. Colors seem brighter. Sounds are more vivid. Experiences are more intense. People who live in the now have access to a quality of aliveness that others miss completely. They taste their food. They feel the breeze on their skin. They really listen when someone talks to them. They notice the beauty that's everywhere all the time. They don't need extraordinary circumstances to feel joy, because they find joy in ordinary moments. This present moment awareness also gives you access to intuition. Your intuition speaks to you in the present moment, not in your analysis of the past or your projections about the future. When you're fully here, you can hear that quiet inner voice that knows things your rational mind doesn't know. You can feel the subtle guidance that points you in the right direction. You can sense opportunities before they fully materialize. Most people miss all of this because they're too busy thinking. They're trapped in their heads, lost in mental chatter, completely disconnected from the present moment. And then they wonder why life feels so difficult, why they feel so anxious, why they can't seem to find peace. The answer is simple. Peace exists only in the present moment. You can't find it yesterday. You can't find it tomorrow. You can only find it now. Another thing that happens when you see what others don't is that you stop fearing death. Most people live their entire lives in the shadow of death. They're terrified of it. They don't want to think about it. They avoid any reminder that their time here is limited. And this fear of death prevents them from really living. They play it safe because they're afraid of losing what they have. They avoid risks because they want to preserve their security. They hold back from love because they're afraid of loss. But when you understand the nature of consciousness, when you realize that you are not your body, when you see that you are the eternal awareness in which all experiences appear, death loses its power over you. You understand that what you really are can never die. Your body will die, your personality will dissolve, your story will end. But the consciousness that you are, the awareness that's reading these words right now, that's eternal, that's infinite, that's beyond birth and death. This understanding frees you to live fully. You stop postponing your dreams, you stop waiting for the perfect time, you stop telling yourself you'll do it later. You realize that later might never come, that all you have is now, and you better make the most of it. You stop taking life so seriously. You laugh more, you play more, you love more openly. You express yourself more freely. You take risks that you would never take if you were clinging to the illusion of security. And here's something else. When you see what others don't, you understand the principle of cause and effect at a level most people never reach. You understand that everything you're experiencing right now is the effect of causes you set in motion previously. Your current circumstances are the harvest of seeds you planted in the past through your thoughts, beliefs, and actions. And your future circumstances are being created right now by what you're thinking, believing, and doing today. This gives you tremendous power because it means you're never stuck. It means you can always change your trajectory by changing what you're doing right now. You don't have to wait for external circumstances to change. You don't have to wait for someone to save you. You don't have to wait for permission or approval or the right conditions. You can start right now, right where you are, with what you have. Most people don't understand this. They're waiting for something outside of them to change before they can be happy, before they can pursue their dreams, before they can be who they want to be. They're giving away all their power to circumstances, to other people, to timing. But when you see what others don't, you take back that power. You realize that you're the one who decides. You're the one who chooses. You're the one who creates. The final thing I want to share with you about seeing what others don't is this: it makes you profoundly grateful. When you understand how miraculous existence is, when you realize the extraordinary intelligence that's orchestrating everything, when you see the perfection in what appears to be imperfection, you can't help but feel grateful. Grateful for your breath, grateful for your heartbeat, grateful for your awareness, grateful for this moment, grateful for this life. Gratitude is the master key to happiness. When you're genuinely grateful, you can't be unhappy. When you're appreciating what you have, you can't be focused on what you lack. When you're acknowledging the blessings that surround you, you can't be complaining about your problems. Gratitude shifts your entire perspective. It opens your heart. It raises your vibration. It attracts more things to be grateful for. So yes, seeing what others don't is dangerous, but it's also the greatest gift you can give yourself. It's the key to freedom. It's the path to peace. It's the way to fulfillment. And it's available to you right now. You don't have to wait. You don't have to prepare. You don't have to be worthy. You just have to be willing. Willing to see, willing to know, willing to be. The rest will unfold naturally. You know, there comes a moment in your life when you have to make a choice that goes against everything you've been taught. A choice that feels wrong at first, but is actually the most loving thing you can do, not just for yourself, but for others too. That choice is learning when not to help. I know what you're thinking. You've been raised to believe that helping others is always the right thing to do. Your parents told you to be kind. Your teachers told you to be generous. Your religion probably told you to turn the other cheek and give until it hurts. And there's truth in all of that. There's beauty in all of that. But here's what they didn't tell you. There are people in this world who will take your kindness and use it as a weapon against you. There are people who will drain every ounce of energy from your body, steal every moment of peace from your mind, and leave you empty, exhausted, and wondering what happened to your life. Today I'm going to talk to you about 6 types of people that you must not help. Not because you're cruel, not because you lack compassion, but because helping them is actually hurting them, and it's destroying you in the process. This is about understanding the difference between genuine help and enabling destruction. This is about learning to say no with love. This is about protecting your energy so you can give it to the people who truly need it and will use it to grow. The first dangerous person you must not help is the professional victim. You know this person. They're in your life right now. They're the ones who always have a problem, always have a crisis, always have a reason why life isn't working out for them. And here's the thing, when you first meet them, you feel sorry for them. You want to help. You think, if I just give them a little support, a little money, a little time, they'll get back on their feet. But months turn into years and nothing changes. The problems just shift. The crises just multiply. The reasons just get more elaborate. The professional victim has made suffering their identity. They've built their entire sense of self around being the person things happen to. They're not living life, they're enduring it. And they need an audience for their suffering. That's where you come in. Every time you rush to their rescue, every time you solve their problem, every time you give them money or time or emotional energy, you're giving them what they really want, which isn't a solution. What they want is validation that they are indeed victims, that life is indeed happening to them, that they have no power and no responsibility. You see, the professional victim has a story, and your help keeps that story alive. The story goes something like this. I'm a good person, but the world is against me. People are against me. Circumstances are against me. If only things were different, if only people would help me more, if only I had what others have, then I could be happy. Then I could succeed. Then I could live the life I deserve. But right now, right here, I'm stuck, I'm powerless, I'm the victim. When you help the professional victim, you become a supporting character in their drama. You confirm their belief that they need rescuing. You reinforce their sense of powerlessness. And here's the cruel irony, the more you help, the more helpless they become. Because every time you solve a problem for them, you send a message, you're right, you can't do this on your own. You're right, you need someone else to fix your life. You're right, you have no power. Real help, true help, compassionate help looks completely different. Real help says, I believe in your strength. I believe in your ability to handle this. I'm not going to rescue you because you don't need rescuing. You need to remember who you are. You need to reclaim your power. You need to take responsibility for your life. And I'll stand beside you while you do that, but I won't do it for you. The professional victim doesn't want to hear this. They'll get angry. They'll accuse you of being cold, of not caring, of abandoning them in their time of need. They'll find someone else who will play the rescuer role. And that's okay. That's their path. Your path is to preserve your energy for those who are genuinely ready to help themselves. The second dangerous person you must not help is the energy vampire. This person is different from the professional victim, though sometimes they overlap. The energy vampire doesn't necessarily present themselves as helpless. They might be successful, charming, even inspiring at first glance. But here's how you know you're dealing with an energy vampire. After spending time with them, you feel exhausted, drained, empty, like someone reached inside you and pulled out your life force. Energy vampires feed on your attention, your emotions, your reactions. They create drama not because they're victims, but because drama gives them energy. They pull it right out of you. They'll call you with emergencies that aren't really emergencies. They'll engage you in conflicts that don't need to exist. They'll dump their emotional garbage on you and walk away feeling lighter while you're left carrying the weight. Here's the thing about energy vampires. They're unconscious. They don't wake up in the morning and think, today I'm going to drain the life out of everyone I meet. They don't know what they're doing. They just know that when they're around certain people like you, they feel better. And so they keep coming back. They keep taking. And if you let them, they'll take until there's nothing left. You cannot help an energy vampire by giving them your energy. That's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it's never enough. The bucket never fills. The only way to help an energy vampire is to stop feeding them. Stop giving them the reactions they're looking for. Stop engaging in the drama. Stop being available for every crisis. Create boundaries. Protect your peace. And when they get angry, when they accuse you of changing, of not being the friend you used to be, understand that this is their addiction talking. They're addicted to your energy, and you're cutting off their supply. The most compassionate thing you can do for an energy vampire is to force them to find energy within themselves, to stop looking outside for what can only be found inside, to learn to generate their own light instead of stealing it from others. But they'll never learn this if you keep giving them what they want. The third dangerous person you must not help is the chronic blamer. This person has a special talent for making everything someone else's fault. Their marriage failed because of their spouse. Their career tanked because of their boss. Their health is poor because of their doctor. Their finances are a mess because of the economy. They are never, ever responsible for anything that goes wrong in their life. The chronic blamer is trapped in a prison of their own making, but they can't see the bars. They can't see that the key to their freedom is in their own pocket. They're so busy pointing fingers that they never look in the mirror. And when you try to help them, when you try to offer solutions or suggestions, they have a reason why it won't work. They have someone else to blame for why they can't take action. You cannot help someone who refuses to take responsibility for their life. You just can't. Because help requires participation. Help requires ownership. Help requires a person to say, yes, I played a role in creating this situation and therefore I have the power to create a different one. But the chronic blamer will never say this. They're too invested in being right about being wronged. When you try to help a chronic blamer, you become their next target. Eventually, when your help doesn't fix their life, because nothing can fix a life that won't be fixed from the data, inside, they'll blame you too. You didn't do enough, you didn't care enough, you didn't understand, you're just like everyone else who let them down. And round it goes. The most loving thing you can do for a chronic blamer is to refuse to participate in their blame game. Don't agree with their assessments. Don't feed their narrative. Don't let them use you as a dumping ground for their resentment. Instead, gently reflect back to them. What's your part in this? What could you have done differently? What can you control moving forward? Most won't want to hear it. Most will walk away, and that's okay. Your job isn't to force people into awareness. Your job is to maintain your own. The fourth dangerous person you must not help is the perpetual user. This person sees relationships as transactions. They see people as resources. They see you as a means to an end. They're nice when they need something. They're charming when they want something. But when you need them, they're nowhere to be found. They're busy. They're unavailable. They're dealing with their own stuff. The perpetual user has developed a sophisticated strategy for getting their needs met without ever giving anything in return. They know how to make you feel special when they want your help. They know how to make you feel guilty if you hesitate. They know exactly which buttons to push and which strings to pull. And if you're a naturally giving person, if you're someone who finds meaning in helping others, you're the perfect target. Here's what happens when you help a perpetual user. You teach them that using people works. You teach them that they can take without giving. You teach them that relationships are one-way streets. And you teach yourself that your value lies in what you can do for others, not in who you are. This is dangerous for both of you. The perpetual user needs to learn that real relationships are based on mutual respect, mutual care, mutual giving. They need to learn that people aren't tools to be picked up when needed and discarded when not. They need to learn empathy, reciprocity, genuine connection. But they'll never learn these things if you keep allowing them to use you. Stopping your help to a perpetual user feels harsh. It feels mean. They'll make you feel like you're the problem. How could you be so selfish? How could you abandon them when they need you? But here's the truth. Saying no to a user isn't selfish. It's self-respectful. It's teaching them a lesson that nobody else has had the courage to teach them. And if they can't handle it, if they disappear from your life because you stopped being useful, then you know what? They were never really in your life to begin with. They were just passing through, taking what they could get. The fifth dangerous person you must not help is the person who refuses to help themselves. This is perhaps the most heartbreaking one because often these are people we love. These are family members, old friends, people we've known for years. We watch them make the same mistakes over and over. We watch them ignore good advice. We watch them choose the path of least resistance even when it leads to destruction. And we want so badly to save them. But here's what you need to understand. You cannot want someone's healing more than they want it themselves. You cannot care about someone's life more than they care about it. You cannot drag someone into their own potential. They have to want it. They have to choose it. They have to do the work. The person who refuses to help themselves is saying, through their actions, I'm not ready, I'm not willing, I'm not committed to change. And that's their right. That's their choice. As hard as it is to accept, everyone has the right to stay stuck. Everyone has the right to refuse growth. Everyone has the right to say no to their own evolution. When you help someone who refuses to help themselves, you're doing more harm than good. You're enabling their self-destruction. You're removing the natural consequences that might actually motivate them to change. You're interfering with the lessons that life is trying to teach them. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is to step back and let them hit bottom. Because it's only at the bottom that many people finally decide to climb. This doesn't mean you stop loving them. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you love them enough to let them learn their own lessons. It means you care enough to say, I can't do this for you and I won't pretend that I can. It means you're honest enough to admit that your help isn't helping, it's just postponing the inevitable. The sixth and final dangerous person you must not help is the person who wants you to compromise your own well-being for theirs. This person comes to you with needs that require you to sacrifice your health, your peace, your values, your boundaries, your own life. They want you to set yourself on fire to keep them warm. And if you're not careful, if you're not awake, you'll do it. Because you're a good person, because you care, because you've been taught that sacrifice is noble. But let me tell you something. Sacrifice isn't always noble. Sometimes sacrifice is just slow suicide. Sometimes sacrifice is just a socially acceptable way of destroying yourself. There's a huge difference between healthy giving and unhealthy sacrificing. Healthy giving comes from a full cup. It's sustainable. It's joyful. It doesn't deplete you because you're giving from your overflow. Unhealthy sacrificing comes from an empty cup. It's unsustainable. It's resentful. It depletes you because you're giving what you don't have. The person who wants you to compromise your well-being for theirs is asking you to live a lie. They're asking you to pretend that your needs don't matter. They're asking you to treat yourself as less important than they are. And if you agree to this, if you go along with this, you're not helping them. You're teaching them that it's okay to disrespect you. You're teaching them that your boundaries don't mean anything. You're teaching them that love means destroying yourself for others. Real love, true love, healthy love never asks someone to betray themselves. Real love says, take care of yourself first so you have something real to give. Real love says, your well-being matters just as much as mine. Real love says, I want you whole, not depleted. When someone genuinely cares about you, they don't want your help at the cost of your health, your sanity, your life. They want you thriving. They want you strong. They want you full. So when someone comes to you with a request that requires you to compromise your own well-being, the answer must be no. Not maybe, not let me think about it. No. A clear, clean, unapologetic no. And if they can't accept that, if they get angry or hurt or offended, that tells you everything you need to know. It tells you they were more interested in what you could do for them than in who you are. It tells you they saw you as a resource, not as a person. It tells you they don't really love you. They love what you give them. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, if I don't help these people, who will? If I turn my back on them, aren't I being just as selfish as they are? If I put up boundaries, aren't I being cold and uncaring? And these are good questions. These are important questions. But they're based on a false premise. The false premise is that you only have two options: help everyone or help no one. Sacrifice yourself or be selfish. But there's a third way. There's a middle path. And that path is called wisdom. Wisdom knows the difference between helping and enabling. Wisdom knows the difference between compassion and codependency. Wisdom knows the difference between supporting someone's growth and supporting their dysfunction. Wisdom says, I will give generously to those who are doing the work, who are taking responsibility, who are genuinely trying to help themselves. But I will not waste my precious energy on those who refuse to change, who blame everyone else, who see me as a resource to be exploited. This isn't about being hard. This isn't about being cold. This is about being smart with your love. This is about understanding that you have a finite amount of energy, time, and resources. You can't give to everyone. You can't help everyone. You can't save everyone. So you have to choose. You have to decide where your energy will do the most good. You have to invest in the people who will actually use your help to grow, not the people who will use it to stay stuck. Think about it this way. If you had $100 to give to charity, would you give it to an organization that was well-run, effective, making a real difference in the world? Or would you give it to an organization that was corrupt, wasteful, making no real impact? The choice is obvious, right? You'd give to the organization that would use your money well. The same principle applies to your energy, your time, your help. Give it to the people who will use it well. Give it to the people who are ready. Give it to the people who are willing. Give it to the people who respect it. And what about those 6 dangerous people? What happens to them if you don't help? Well, here's the beautiful truth. They'll either figure it out on their own, or they'll find someone else to use, or they'll hit bottom and finally wake up. Either way, it's not your responsibility. You are not responsible for other people's lives. You are not responsible for other people's choices. You are not responsible for other people's happiness. You are responsible for your own life, your own choices, your own happiness. And when you take full responsibility for yourself, when you stop trying to save everyone else, something magical happens. You become a beacon of light. You become an example of what's possible. You become proof that people can thrive when they take responsibility for their own lives. The professional victim sees you thriving and thinks, maybe I don't have to be a victim. Maybe I can take charge of my life too. The energy vampire sees you with strong boundaries and thinks, maybe I need to generate my own energy. Maybe I need to stop feeding off others. The chronic blamer sees you taking responsibility and thinks, maybe I've been wrong. Maybe I do have power here. The perpetual user sees you refusing to be used and thinks, maybe I need to learn to give as well as take. The person who refuses to help themselves sees you stepping back and thinks, maybe it's time I start helping myself. And the person who wanted you to compromise your well-being sees you honoring yourself and thinks, maybe I need to honor others too. You see, sometimes the most powerful help you can give someone is to stop helping them. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to let them struggle. Sometimes the greatest teaching is done through your absence, not your presence. This goes against everything you've been taught, I know, but it's true. And if you can accept this truth, if you can integrate this truth, if you can live this truth, your life will transform. You'll stop feeling drained all the time. You'll stop feeling resentful about all you give and how little you get back. You'll stop feeling like a doormat that everyone walks on. Instead, you'll feel energized. You'll feel empowered. You'll feel like yourself again. And here's the really beautiful part. When you stop wasting your energy on people who won't use it well, you'll have so much more energy for the people who will. You'll be able to show up fully for the people who are doing the work. You'll be able to give generously without feeling depleted. You'll be able to make a real difference in the lives of people who actually want to change. But to get there, you have to do something that feels impossible at first. You have to learn to say no. You have to learn to create boundaries. You have to learn to protect your energy. And most importantly, you have to learn to live with the discomfort of other people's disappointment in you. Because when you stop helping these 6 dangerous people, they will be disappointed. They will be angry. They will accuse you of changing, of not being the person you used to be. And you know what? They're right. You're not the person you used to be. You used to be someone who gave without wisdom. You used to be someone who helped without discernment. You used to be someone who sacrificed yourself without question. But you're not that person anymore. You've evolved. You've grown. You've learned. And that's something to celebrate, not apologize for. Let me be clear about something. This doesn't mean you become a cold person. This doesn't mean you stop caring about people. This doesn't mean you walk through the world with your heart closed. In fact, it's the opposite. When you stop wasting your compassion on people who misuse it, you have more compassion to give to those who honor it. When you stop sacrificing yourself for people who don't appreciate it, you have more of yourself to share with those who do. When you stop trying to save people who don't want to be saved, you can actually help people who are ready for help. This is about becoming a wise giver instead of a foolish one. This is about understanding that love without wisdom is just sentimentality. This is about recognizing that helping someone stay stuck is not actually helping them at all. This is about having the courage to do what's right even when it feels wrong. This is about trusting that people have their own path, their own lessons, their own growth, and that sometimes the kindest thing you can do is get out of the way and let them walk it. Think about the people in your life right now. Think about the ones who drain you, who use you, who blame you, who expect you to sacrifice yourself for them. Think about how much energy you've given them. Think about how little has changed. Think about how exhausted you feel. Now ask yourself, is this really helping? Is this really love? Is this really what I want to do with my one precious life? Because here's the thing, you don't have forever. You don't have unlimited energy. You don't have endless time. You have right now. You have this moment. You have this one beautiful, miraculous, temporary life. And you get to choose how you spend it. You get to choose where you invest your energy. You get to choose who you help and who you don't. And if you choose wisely, if you choose consciously, if you choose from a place of wisdom rather than guilt or obligation or fear, your life will be so much richer, so much fuller, so much more meaningful. Saying no to the professional victim isn't cruel. It's giving them an opportunity to discover their own strength. Saying no to the energy vampire isn't cold. It's forcing them to generate their own energy. Saying no to the chronic blamer isn't harsh. it's inviting them to take responsibility. Saying no to the perpetual user isn't mean. It's teaching them about reciprocity. Saying no to the person who refuses to help themselves isn't abandonment, it's respecting their choice and their path. Saying no to the person who wants you to compromise your well-being isn't selfish, it's self-loving. Every no to these dangerous people is a yes to yourself. Every boundary you create is an act of self-respect. Every time you protect your energy, you're honoring the precious life you've been given. And this matters. This matters so much because you matter. Your life matters, your energy matters, your peace matters, your well-being matters. You are not a resource to be used up. You are not a battery to be drained. You are not a tool to solve other people's problems. You are a human being with your own needs, your own dreams, your own path. When you finally accept this, when you finally own this, when you finally live from this truth, everything changes. The people who were using you will fall away. The people who were draining you will move on. The people who were taking advantage of your kindness will find someone else. And yes, it will hurt at first. Yes, you'll feel guilty. Yes, you'll wonder if you did the right thing. But stay the course. Trust the process. Because on the other side of this discomfort is freedom. On the other side of this guilt is peace. On the other side of this change is the life you've always wanted but never thought you deserved. You deserve relationships that fill you up instead of emptying you out. You deserve friends who give as much as they take. You deserve people in your life who respect your boundaries, honor your needs, appreciate your help. You deserve to wake up in the morning feeling energized instead of exhausted. You deserve to go through your day without constantly being interrupted by other people's crises. You deserve to give from a full cup instead of an empty one. But you'll never have any of this if you keep helping the 6 dangerous people. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to get really honest with yourself. Look at your life. Look at your relationships. Look at where your energy is going. Identify the professional victims, the energy vampires, the chronic blamers, the perpetual users, the people who refuse to help themselves, the people who want you to compromise your well-being. See them clearly, name them honestly, and then make a decision. Decide that you're done. Decide that you're not doing this anymore. Decide that your life is too precious to waste on people who won't value your help. And then take action. Start creating boundaries. Start saying no. Start protecting your energy. And when people push back, when they get upset, when they accuse you of changing, stay strong, stay clear, stay committed to your own well-being. Because this is your life. This is your one shot. This is your opportunity to live in a way that honors who you are and what you're here to do. Don't waste it trying to save people who don't want to be saved. Don't sacrifice it for people who wouldn't do the same for you. Don't give it away to people who don't value it. Instead, invest your precious energy in people who are ready to receive it. Give your time to people who will use it to grow. Share your wisdom with people who want to learn. Support people who are doing the work. Encourage people who are taking responsibility. Stand beside people who are helping themselves. These are the people who deserve your help. These are the people who will honor your gift. These are the people who will transform your energy into something beautiful. And here's what will happen. You'll start to feel like yourself again. You'll start to remember who you are beneath all the giving, beneath all the sacrificing, beneath all the helping. You'll rediscover your own dreams, your own needs, your own life. You'll have energy for your own growth. You'll have time for your own development. You'll have space for your own peace. And from this place of wholeness, from this place of fullness, from this place of authenticity, you'll be able to give in a way that's truly helpful. You'll be able to love in a way that's truly loving. You'll be able to serve in a way that's truly serving. This is the paradox. When you stop trying to help everyone, you're actually able to help the people who need it most. When you stop giving indiscriminately, you're able to give powerfully. When you stop sacrificing yourself, you're able to show up fully. This is wisdom. This is maturity. This is the path of the awakened giver. So stop helping the 6 dangerous people. Stop enabling the professional victim. Stop feeding the energy vampire. Stop participating with the chronic blamer. Stop allowing the perpetual user. Stop rescuing the person who refuses to help themselves. Stop compromising your well-being for others. And start living your life. Start honoring your needs. Start respecting your boundaries. Start protecting your peace. Start valuing your energy. Start choosing yourself. This isn't selfishness. This is self-love. And self-love is the foundation of all genuine love. You cannot give what you don't have. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot help others if you've destroyed yourself. So fill your own cup first. Take care of your own needs first. Protect your own peace first. And then from that place of fullness, from that place of strength, from that place of wisdom, give to those who are ready to receive. Help those who are willing to be helped. Support those who are doing the work. This is the path. This is the way. This is how you live a life that matters, that makes a difference, that leaves the world better than you found it. Not by sacrificing yourself for everyone, not by saying yes to every request, not by giving until there's nothing left, but by being wise with your love, discerning with your help, and protective of your precious energy. When you do this, when you really do this, you become a force for good in this world. You become an example of what's possible. You become a light that guides others home, not because you've sacrificed yourself, but because you've honored yourself. And that makes all the difference.